Oh, hello there. Did you stop by for another video from EarnPED.com? Well, you're just in time. Hey guys, it's Stevie. I'm just getting off work here at the Omegaton factory. It's a piece of crap. It's part of Zakion Citadel. As you can see, it's been destroyed in the robot war many years ago. But now that I'm off work, let's head home and I can show you guys how to make some money with the Postal Service. Because inevitably, you guys are using it wrong. So why do I work at the Omegaton factory? Well, because you guys know Omegaton's slogan, if you want old school unlimited weapons that are low efficiency and don't max out till level 100, it's gotta be Omegaton. Omegaton Industries. So guys, the reason I wanted to make today's video is the other day I was talking to a very good friend of mine, somebody very special to me who has been a long time player. Yes, I do take public transit, so we're going to hit the teleporter over here. And we're just going to stop by Billy's after work. And in talking to this person, I realized something. The vast majority of players do not use auction correctly. They don't use auction and they don't use the Postal Service anywhere near correctly. So let's go hit up an auction and I'll show you guys what I mean. So this is where I spend the vast majority of my time in game, is actually looking through auctions. It might be listing stuff for sale, it might be purchasing stuff that I need, or it could just be looking to see if there's any good deals. So this is what most people do. Most people pull up the auction, they go to whatever category they're looking for, so let's just say armor, and then they'll type in exactly what it is they're looking for. So let's say I wanted to search for parts for a certain piece of armor. Oh, no, that's not how you do it. I just go to the search box and I type in, let's say, Earth, and I find that we've got two sets of Earth Shock Trooper foot guards on auction. And this is how most people use auction. They'll kind of browse through, go to housing, highest buyout. Somebody's got a lot of shopkeeper pads up for sale at the moment. You know, this is what they do, and this is all they do. And then when they're done, they just exit out and dirt, going to go about our merry way. Guys, auction is much more versatile than you would think. We've actually got our own postal service inside of Entropia Universe. Not only do we have our own postal service, but like with the regular postal service, there's standard and even express mail. So let me show you guys kind of what I do. So first of all, let's say I just want to browse Cali auction, because Cali is the biggest, most vibrant economy. I always start by going with highest to lowest buyout. This is a personal pet peeve. A lot of people do lowest. I do highest to lowest. And then I just go through what blueprints are there. I'll go through 4 pages in. I'll see if there's anything I like. I'll go down materials, paint cans, lowest price first. Is there anything with a low buyout or low starting bid that I want to bid on? Not really. Okay, cool. Then I'll drop down skill implants. So I go through the stuff that I'm looking for, right? And this is what most people do, to some extent, to some variation. But it is so much more versatile. So whenever I first thought about making today's video, I was actually going to put this video on hold. I'd considered going to Arcadia and doing the Viceroy armor upgrade video. I've never done the Viceroy armor mission, and I thought about doing the upgrade because I would like to have mod Viceroy armor. So as you may or may not know, mod Viceroy and mod Viceroy armor is account bound. So it's got like 400 TT, there's 3 or 4 upgrade stages. So I researched what I would need to take to Arcadia, and it's a big list of stuff. So I've got everything I need to get the Viceroy set. That's easy, for me anyway. It was the upgrade part that was a problem. So I wanted to know if there were things on Arcadia auction that I could get now, pick up when I get there, and use for the upgrades. So if you'll notice over here in the top right, it actually says I'm currently looking at Calypso. If I hit this drop down tab, it gives me a list of all the different auctions there are. So we've got a global auction, Asteroid, which is FOMA, Calypso, Crystal Palace, the Starter Area Thule, Monria, Cyrene, The Hub, Rocktropia, Hell, Next Island, Ancient Greece, Secret Island, Arcadia, Arcadia Underground, Arcadia Moon. There's a separate auction for Hunt the Thing, and even Planet Tulun. So how many of you knew that all of these different auctions existed? Now you go to these places and you check auction when you get there, and it kind of makes sense that it's got its own auction. But do you really check these on a daily basis? So let's say Arcadia, because remember I was wanting to go to Planet Arcadia. So all items, And the thing I was looking for was nanites. So, nan. And notice I've got some attack chips, but no nanites. Well, I need nanites to go from regular Viceroy to adjusted to improved to modified. Well, there's none on auction on Arcadia. And you would think that because that's where they should be found. So let's go back to Calypso auction. Let's go back from Arcadia to Calypso. And now let's try nanites here. Notice there's one improved nanites and one modified nanites, both on auction. One is not enough. First of all, I would need like 14 of each, I think, something like that. And there's no adjusted nanites. So I would need adjusted nanites first, then improved, then modified. And there's just none on auction. None on Arcadia or Calypso. Now the odds are there's not going to be any on the other planets, but let's go ahead and check. Let's go with Arcadia Underground. Are there any nanites there? Nope. Let's go with Arcadia Moon. Are there any there? Nope. So that's why I didn't make the Viceroy video today. I'd planned on it, but I want to get the armor and upgrade it all at once. So obviously I've got to find the nanites first. Hopefully we can get that video done here sometime in the near future, because it is a cool mission chain, and it's one that I've been meaning to knock out ever since I started. That was actually the very first set of armor I wanted. So the thing is, guys, having the versatility to search other auctions from your home planet is a huge, huge benefit. I was on Next Island a while back. I went and I got my new little pet. In fact, I'll introduce him to you guys now. So this is my little auto loot pet friend. His name is Roomba. Get it? Because he's a robot and he sucks up loot. Because he's got auto loot, and Roomba is a little robotic vacuum cleaner. So yeah, his name's Roomba. I was going to name him Accidental Programming Error to mock the Next Island staff who told us that lures were accidentally programmed, but apparently that's too long of a name. So while I was there, I picked up some blueprints. They've got a new daily thing where you can do some daily missions and get some cool blueprints, but I didn't get all the materials I needed. So now that I'm back on Calypso, I can still go over here to auctions, and I can go down to Next Island, and let's say I want to search for a certain type of stone. Let's see. Okay, so like if I wanted anhydrous crystal, there is anhydrous crystal on auction, but it's at a higher markup than I'm willing to pay. So I'm not going to purchase that. But I could if I wanted to. So let's try something else. So let's say I wanted to buy some hematite crystals, right? So again, buy out highest to lowest. So let's see here. So I could buy 2,000 of them for 27 PED. Now the problem is, if I buy them, they're going to be on Next Island. They're not going to be on Calypso, right? So even though this video is not going to make me enough money to cover this purchase, I'm just going to do this to show you guys how this works. So I can actually hit place bid. Notice I'm placing the buyout bid, and it's going to purchase it. Now notice behind auction this thing popped up, select delivery option. So self pickup at no extra cost. So I can select self pickup and it will put it in my storage on Next Island. Then I can fly to Next Island and get it at my leisure. Or if I want it delivered to Calypso, I can choose regular delivery, which will cost me 2 PED, and my item will arrive in 12 hours. Or I can pick express delivery, which costs 6 PED. If I do that, it will be delivered to my inventory instantly, here on planet. Well, since I'm not in a rush, I'm going to go with regular delivery. It'll be here in 12 hours. So now what is happening is Mindark is bringing me my item to me. I did have to pay 2 PED, 20 cents is what I had to pay to get it here. But it is now safely traveling from Next Island to my storage here on Calypso. No chance of it being looted, no chance of being shot down, no chance of me going through a player versus player area where I could be looted, right? So think about this. Is it really worth my time, my fuel, to go from here to Next Island, which is about a 45-minute trip in a quad, pick it up, then fly 45 minutes back, burning all that oil, or is it worth 20 cents just to have it delivered? In this case, it's worth 20 cents. Now guys, the delivery fee is not always going to be 2 PED or 6 PED for instant. I do believe it is based off weight. So obviously if you pick something that weighs a whole hell of a lot, or a huge stack of something that weighs a whole hell of a lot, it's going to be very, very, very costly to get it back here. So sometimes that self-storage is in your best interest. Just have it put in your storage on that planet and then pick it up when you get there. So let's go back to auction. So let's go back to Calypso. Now notice we can search for our item here, so I can search for pyrite. I think most of you know how to use the search function. I can search for iron, whatever. We also know that we've got the drop-down menu over here on the left where we can pick by category. We can also look at items that we've won. So as you guys know, my storage is usually full to the max and brimming over. If I win stuff on auction, I don't always grab it off auction. If I list something for auction and it doesn't sell, I don't always get it out. Reason being is because if I put stuff up that doesn't sell, it just comes here under my won page. So auction also kind of acts as a storage facility for me. So I would say I sell probably 90 to 95% of the stuff I put on auction, but if I don't, I just leave it here in auction until I need it. Notice I've also got stuff currently available for sale under my offers, and then I've got my bids, right? So if you'll notice, there's also an option to look by buyout. We can look by buyout. I don't usually do that. We can look by sex for male or female. This is handy if you have a male avatar wanting to look for male clothing or male armor, or a female avatar wanting to look only at female parts. I think most people do like looking at female parts. We can also do limited or unlimited. This is good when you need to differentiate between an item. Like, do you want a limited blueprint or an unlimited blueprint? Now, it's not referring to the item the blueprint makes, just the state of the blueprint itself. This can also be handy when you're looking at armor. Do I want limited armor or unlimited armor, like Ghost? Ghost armor comes in both limited and unlimited, right? So that can be super handy too. So use these drop-down menus, guys. That's what they're there for. Another very, very important thing that I think people overlook, and I've talked about this before, but I want to elaborate on it, is auction orders. So just like you can create an auction to sell something, you can create an auction to buy something. That would be an auction order. So these are the current orders that are available. I'm going to go by max markup. So we notice that somebody is wanting one Ares ring perfected, and they're willing to pay TT plus 6,500 PED. Now that's below typical markup. Typical markup on an Ares perfected is about 7 to 7,200 PED. So they're trying to save about 5 to 700 PED by putting in this auction order. They're hoping somebody just wants the PED and wants to sell fast, or they're hoping somebody screws up the auction, right? We notice that somebody's willing to buy a shopkeeper pad at TT plus 4,500. So as we go down through here, we can see all the different auction orders that there are. Now normally, auction orders are going to be below markup. These are generally going to be fairly significantly below markup. So it's generally not a good idea. Generally not a good idea to sell to the auction orders, as you're usually going to get less than full markup, but it can come in handy, especially whenever you've got something that is extremely big stack and hard to move. So let's go back to the lowest. We see that somebody's willing to pay 100.3% markup for muscle oil. They're willing to pay 100.53 for blessarium ingots. So blessarium ingots usually have 102% markup, so they're trying to save 2%. This is where a lot of the crafters will come to try and get their materials. They're patient. They'll put in an order and slowly have it get filled over time. That way they can save just a few percent on their inputs. Iron, somebody's wanting for 101.7. I'm trying to find a good example. So, okay, here's a good one. Narcasium is usually about 102 to 103%. And right now I can sell Narcasium for 102.24. So that's not a huge discrepancy. It's very possible I might decide that I want to sell some Narcasium. So what I look at is two things. I look at the quantity they're willing to buy, which is in this case at the same price. They're willing to buy 1,953 units and 1,959 units, right? And then I look at the markup, so 102.24. So what I could do is I could get less than that amount, and I could put a buyout of less than that total markup, and it would if I listed that as a buyout auction, it would instantly get filled. So here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to try and put in exactly 1,953 at exactly 102.24% markup. The reason being, as I learned the hard way in a crunch time during a mayhem about a year and a half ago, is auction orders can also be bidding on auctions. So there might be, let's say, 500 of this 1953 that's currently reserved for bidding on a current auction. If it wins it, it'll fill it. If it doesn't win it, it comes back to over here on the order, right? So to be safe, I would probably try and sell about 1,500 units, and I would get as close to that 102.24 as I could without going over. So I actually try and undershoot it a little bit. I would try and shoot for like 102.23 or 102.22 because I want to be sure it gets filled, right? Now, if it doesn't get filled, it's not the end of the world. Let's say that you listed iron at exactly, we've got an order for 101.7 and an order for 102 even. So let's say you listed iron at exactly 101.7 for exactly 2,000 units, and for some reason you miscalculated and it was 101.71 and you didn't realize it, so it doesn't automatically get filled. Don't worry. The same people that are looking at these orders, the same people that are placing these orders, they're also on the back end looking at auction. If they see it pop up on auction, it's close enough to the order, somebody would probably buy it pretty freakishly quickly, right? Now, one thing that you guys will see, depending on how it's used, this can be a very good tool for making PED, is people will try and use auction orders as traders to make quick money. Now, this can be a powerful tool in your PED making arsenal. It can also be very, very, very stupid. So here's why I say that. If you are a new trader, you're new to EU, and you see that there's the ability to fill an order for 20,000 muscle oil at 100.3%. So you go out to Icarus and you start hitting up trade channels, spamming it that you're willing to buy at 100.1%, right? Well, that's far enough below the average markup of 101.8, 102, 103, somewhere there. It's far enough below that. People are going to figure out very quickly you're trying to buy it up on the ultra cheap and then fill auction orders. And in reality, you could probably pay closer to like 100.5, which is above the order here, and still turn around and sell it in big enough quantities on auction and make money. So that would ruin your trading career very, very quickly. However, it can be powerful. Let me find a good example. And you can't just use any order for something like this. Let's see here. There's not always a good example on here, but let me see if I can find one. Okay, here's a good one. So paint can corn silk. So paint can corn silk has a value of 24 pec per can. It's got a very, 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 very high usability level. So you've got to be professional level 45 color to be able to use it. So very, very high. Only like 2 people in game that high, right? So why this person wants 3,000 cans of corn silk, I have no idea. Why they're willing to pay 115% markup, I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to guess if I could find out, I bet this is either Lilu or Summer, and I'd almost bet money on that. But if you notice, we're also right about at the average markup, even a little bit above markup for what it usually goes for. So it would not be hard as a trader to go into Cali Trade or Next Island Trade or Arcadia Trade or even Local Trade and start spamming, hey, I want to buy specifically paint can corn silk. I'm willing to pay 110%. And if you could get your hands on enough of it, let's say you could get your hands on 2,000 cans, you can turn around and sell it to the auction at 115%. So you're making a nice 5% spread. And it's one of those things where you're able to pay a fair price for it because it's something people don't normally want or need. And at the same time, you're not ripping anybody off. Now, if you tried to do that with a lot of this other stuff, let's say I wanted to try it with simple 2 conductors. Simple 2 conductors usually go for 110%. I have to fill the auction at 104, so I'd have to buy them at 103. It would be very apparent I'm trying to buy below the order to fill the order, and I'm essentially taking advantage of certain players, which would be a bad thing, right? So there are certain orders that are put out here due to people having different motivations that allow you to get further in your trading ability. Now, I've done it very successfully, and I will tell you guys it can be a huge pain. Right now, I've got plenty of green paint. I could sell 60 units at 115. I'm not sure I really want to do that, even though that is a pretty fair markup, because I might decide that using the paint is a better use for me, right? But that's a pretty fair one. It's one of those things, guys. It takes a lot of staying on top of it. It takes a lot of effort to make this your trading method. The other thing is you're almost kind of shooting yourself in the foot when your goal is to buy below markup and then sell for markup. Oh, here's a good one. Paint can burgundy. This has to be summer early Lou. They've got a very specific item they're working on, because these kind of markups on paint you don't see on orders for these high levels of paint. So this has to be summer early Lou. Notice again, it's right at, so this would be a great example, guys. This is today. I'm recording this morning. You could go out right now and start buying up burgundy paint and corn silk paint, and then turn around and sell it to the order, and you guys would be good to go if you could get your hands on enough of it. Now, you would need a pretty good quantity, which is not going to be easy to find in trade channels. But honestly, guys, buying and then trying to turn around and sell to the orders to make your money, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. And the reason I say that is you can almost always get more money by actually putting it on auction, being patient, knowing when to use a big amount, knowing when to list a small amount. You will almost always get more money using the auction the regular way than selling this way. Almost always. There are some small examples when it can be beneficial. See right there, 100 cans of paint can orange, 400%. But it's very rare. So if you want to stay liquid, if you've only got a few PED to work with and you're just starting out as a trader, maybe it's necessary. If you've got any kind of a bankroll, orders are a better way to figure out what you should be paying for something rather than what you should be selling it for. I hope that makes sense. Give you an example. Tier 2 components right here, they're willing to pay 130% markup. Average markup's 140% in small stacks. I've gotten up to 200% before. So I'd be shooting myself in the foot to buy at 120 or 125 and sell to the order at 130 when I can sell on auction for 140 and even up to 200 if I do my stacks right. So guys, the auction system is very versatile. If you buy something from another planet and you choose to have it delivered either regular or express delivery, you will get a notice in your message center that says Postal Service, your item has been delivered. The item will go directly into your planet storage of your local planet that you're on whenever you purchased it. So that is kind of my overview of how to use auction in a little bit more versatile way than what you've probably been using it. It is one of the best tools in Entropia. I spend probably a solid half of the time I'm logged in looking at auctions. Doesn't mean I'm always buying something, doesn't mean I'm always selling something, doesn't mean I'm always bidding, but you guys will spend a lot of time here. The further into the game you get, the more important the auction will become. So learn how to use it. Get very used to looking at it. I will leave it there for today. Guys, with EarnPED.com, I've been StevieB. I hope this has been a very informative video. We've got more videos for you coming up. If you want to help support us, head over to EarnPED.com, because when you earn, we earn. That is the best way you guys can help support us. And remember, we want you to play smarter, not harder. We do appreciate every single viewer of the YouTube channel. Guys, these YouTube videos do not make good money at all. If I had to break it down, I would say I'm probably making 10 cents an hour putting this content out here. But I do it because I love this game. I want to see the game thrive. I want to see the players thrive. And I love getting those messages from new players about how much these videos have helped them. So as long as that's true, I'll keep pumping them out, even though the monetary compensation really isn't there. But every subscriber matters, every like matters, every comment matters. The more of each of those that we have, the more favorably YouTube treats us. So if you're a regular Stevie that watches, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. That way you see all of our new content as soon as it comes out. Please hit that like button. Guys, I know I've got haters out there because I've got videos that are unlisted, unrelated to EU, that you should not be able to see, that the haters find and still hit dislike just because it's one of my videos. So guys, I really appreciate all the Stevies out there. I've got more great content coming for you very soon. I'm pumping these out as fast as I can while keeping up with my real life responsibilities. I appreciate all the support and all the love you guys have shown. It means a lot, and we'll be back with more great content very soon. Till then, smack, smack, sip, sip, and fuck the haters, guys. Take care, Stevies.